Yo, 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 yo! Well, I'm been waiting for Twitch to update.
Yeah, we
Twitch
know.
is behind. No, I'm not. This is why I can't put the chat up. This is why I can't put the chat. Yo, 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 yo! We are back, everybody. Welcome to Comic Combo Express.
Yo, anyway, yo.
You know, I'm Pedro, the Marvel fanboy himself, returning, and with me is
I'm Tom Brock, the other son of Dylan. I mean, Eddie Brock. Here we go. Let's go.
And with us here is our own Pep Gamer. I'm happy I pay you minimum. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Comic Combo Express. Few
Child labor.
little child labor is crazy.
There you go.
Couple quick announcements before we go live. This is a viewer-supported podcast, so if you want to show your support and your help on out, make sure you check us out on youtube.com/ oh my god, I almost said my channel. youtube.com/ Comic Combo Express. Make sure you hit the sub button. We do the podcast live on Twitch. Make sure you follow us over on twitch.tv/ Comic Combo Express. There it is right there. We got all sorts of stuff going on. Other support things you can do is if you want to ask a question, you should go to streamlabs.com/ Comic Combo Express. Any type of donation over $30 will show your chat up on the screen and we will read it and answer it. $69 and up will trigger TTS, that's text to speech. We will let the computer read it off to us and we will answer the question. Today is our 5th episode of season 2. We will be talking all things Venom today. We have a pretty packed itinerary today, so I want to hop right into it. But first, I'd like to, oh my God, thank.
It's all good, baby.
It's all good. Yeah,
I slip up all the time.
You're still on vacation mode, bro.
I am still on vacation.
I'm not mad at you, bro.
I just got back from South Carolina maybe 2 days ago, so I am just in hot tub.
It was that spring
You know.
break, huh?
I'm mad at you, bro. I'm not mad at you.
I'm slurring my words too. Oh my God.
He's still recovering.
Before we get into our itinerary, I'd like to thank our partners, W. You can check them out at www.w.vg. You can get up to 10% off your entire order. 10% with promotional code PevGamer, all caps.
Sure, it's not 20 bucks.
Yeah, I'm positive it's not 20.
You remember that one?
We got merch. Check out our merch over on streamlabs.com/merch/PevGamer. You can get stuff like these amazing hats that both my gentlemen here are wearing, or that hand edge mug right in the middle of the table. It's a beautiful mug, 15-ounce mug. You should get it. You should get it while it's on sale.
All of our shirts.
Get us while it's getting.
The sweatshirt, they got them all there.
Are you wearing the shirt?
Well, not today.
I had nothing to model it then.
No,
I'm just teasing you. All right, guys, let's get into our itinerary. So first big thing is segment 1. We're going to talk about the definitive Venom story arc. You want to take that one, I think?
Yeah, I'll take it. Good morning, guys. Again, welcome. We appreciate everyone here. My definitive one is gotta be the intro of Venom from 616. I'm taking a chunk from issue 299 to 304, written by the great Dave. Was it
David Michelini?
Michelini, art by the great Tom McFarlane. Let's just jump into it. Between issue 299 to 304, actually 300, where it kind of somewhat ended.
Talk about the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, I was gonna say ASM, but like you said, a lot of people get thrown off. The story begins with Peter Parker returning from New York after Secret Wars. Meanwhile, the mysterious figure later reveals itself as Eddie Brock. Venom. Spider-Man faces against Venom for the first time. Venom powers and abilities showcases Spider-Man's struggles to comprehend the villain's strength and agility. Spider-Man and Venom, of course, they engage in battles, etc., etc. One of the highlights is really cool because it breaks down the origin of Venom. Shows you that he was a journalist. Remember, he was obsessed with Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, he was.
The reason why he looks how he looks because he was jacked. He used to
Always
bench
in the
press.
gym, hitting the
Yeah,
weights.
always lifting weights, and he had this big grudge against Spider-Man or Peter Parker because the time that he turned around, remember?
He didn't know that Spider-Man and Peter at the time was the same person.
Yep, and he exposed Eddie Brock for doing false.
Yeah, he
News and
would
stuff.
put another different picture,
Falsifying photos.
falsifying it. Yeah,
So that was good times. Through the whole thing they were fighting, the showdown. And then one of the highlights is Spider-Man went to was it Ben Grimm from Fantastic Four, and he got with him, and they end up creating a sonic device, which took the well, actually the big main fight between Venom and Spider-Man. They're fighting in a church, and they just go at it, and how the costume actually comes off of Venom's to remember the sounding of the bell.
That's
Off
off,
of
got off the
Peter, you
Spider
mean?
Peter Parker,
Yeah.
and he had to get the symbiote off, and the bells were ringing, and
Mhm.
it came off and seeped through the church, and they ended up
Yep.
getting on Eddie, who was actually contemplating suicide, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
Yeah, the animated series did a really good job of
emphasizing it.
yeah,
emphasizing
yeah. I think they brought that to screen very, very well. We're referring to the '90s Spider-Man cartoon. If no one caught that.
What's this costume doing? Doc Connors was right. The symbiote's taking control. I gotta get it off. Oh, it's too late. It won't let me. Ah! The suit is in pain. I can feel it. Why? Sonic vibration. Noise makes you crazy. I should have guessed that before. But why didn't I know your weakness? Did you block it from my mind to protect yourself? Was Connors right? Stay away from me! I thought I wanted what you had to offer, but I'm not like you. And I won't let you do this to me. No! At last, it's over. I gotta get out of here.
Spider-Man, enjoy your fame while it lasts.
Well, in the book, it kind of stretched it out because
Yeah.
I think it was in Web of Spider-Man 1, that's when the symbiote got off of Peter, and it was still in the church. It looked like it got destroyed, but it wasn't. It was just seeping through the church. And then going into the Amazing Spider-Man a couple issues later, where they introduced Eddie Brock as Venom, the symbiote, they explained how he was in the church and he was ready to blow his head off in a church, out of all places.
Mhm.
And you see the symbiote comes down. He thinks it's like the answer to God, and it just got on him. And that's how Venom was formed after that. And
And they merged, man.
it was a good symbiosis.
It's perfect harmony.
It's like rice and beans and
Or chicken and biscuits and gravy.
gravy for the edit version.
Tenders, taters, and gravy. I threw in a biscuit and a big old cookie.
So
Oh.
basically, to sum up, like I said, mine was the actual intro of Venom, which still to this very day, I go back and I reread this story over and over again. I have a couple fun facts for you. The first black costume in Spider-Man, also known as the symbiote costume, debuted in Amazing Spider-Man 252, May 1984, written by Tom Falco.
Falco, yep.
There we go.
Falco.
And Ron Frenz and Klaus Janson. However, the costume's origin began in Secret Wars number 8, which was December 1984, written by Jim Shooter. Mike Zeke and John Beatty was the inker. The black costume was worn by Spider-Man in ASM, which is Amazing Spider-Man 252 to 300. Web of Spider-Man number 1 through 18. Kind of number 1 cover.
It was.
And later, of course, it came off issue 300 and 301, where he ended up getting back his red and blue costume. Another quick fun fact. Tom McFarlane, I saw an interview on him. He really hated the black costume because growing up, hear me out, when he was doing Hulk,
Yeah.
before his transition over to Amazing Spider-Man, he, as a child, always wanted to draw the blue and red costume. That's an iconic
Yes.
costume. And so he was happy that it was ending and he was doing his own thing with the blue and red costume. And also, Venom, believe it or not, was supposed to be a one-off character. Yeah.
Yes,
Really?
it's supposed to be a one-off villain.
Supposed to be a couple issues, I believe, from 299 to 300, and that was supposed to be it. But no, popularity, they just kept bringing them back.
You know what? I can see why they brought him back because it's like the evil version of Spider-Man. It was
Mhm.
perfect.
It was amazing. I really loved it. It was
The more
amazing.
we got to, and yeah, it was spectacular.
It was
It
amazing.
was amazing.
It was web of.
Anyways,
It's what the web.
don't worry, it was the ultimate.
So that's pretty much what I got, Pete.
There you go. See what I got?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I got is the definitive Venom storyline came out recently in 2020. King in Black was my choice.
Oh,
It was written by Donny Gates and illustrated by Ryan Stegman. Issue 1 through 5, and had crossovers as well. It was the sequel to Absolute Carnage. Null and his symbiotes invades Earth, leaving Venom, the Avengers, the X-Men, and numerous heroes to protect it. Null, the god of symbiotes, kills the Sentry, and that's not easy to do. I mean,
No, not at all.
but he's a primordial deity created
Deity.
after the destruction of the sixth iteration of the cosmos. The Celestials gave him the position of King in Black, who was to look after the kingdoms of darkness, basically the symbiotes.
the abyss. Yep.
Null created the all-black Necrosword to kill the Celestials. He kills one of them, believe it or not. And then it made the Celestials banish Null and forged the symbiotes with the cosmic energies of the head of the dead Celestial, which is known as Nowhere,
The void, right? Or what was it? The forge.
the
The
Forge.
forge. Yes.
And it
Correct.
basically, they took those symbiotes and it wrapped around them like a cocoon, and it printed them there. What do you call it? It did all that, and
Noah was this little scrawny little guy when he first appeared.
you know when he first, he looked like he was starving.
Yeah, he looked-
Because when he
he's on
came out,
crack.
yeah,
He was a little crackhead.
but he had to give time to reform his powers.
Yep.
He formed his own armor to kill other gods until he crashed landed on an unnamed planet where Gore the God Butcher
Yeah.
took the Necrosword from an injured Null.
Yep.
Null ended up using the symbiotes and buried himself until he was formed a symbiote planet, so he could heal himself, and that's why he was in that egg. Null was later freed during a battle between the Silver Surfer and Eagle the Living Planet and was defeated. And Null used his hive mind to send a symbiote to invade in the medieval Earth to claim it.
Hey, just not to cut you off. Well,
Absolutely.
to cut you off.
Cut me off.
Wraith, didn't he play a part in the resurrection? Of,
Yes.
Null?
During that battle with Silver
Yes.
Surfer and
I thought he was a very underused character.
He
I mean,
was.
this character came out of nowhere. He was badass.
I
had a
actually
little,
thought Wraith was Null because they have
I
similar
saw him,
looks. They
yeah,
have
when
to
I
be
first saw him
related.
in the book, like say the comic covers. I thought it was no. I think it was no.
That's what I thought.
I thought he was
Come to
badass.
find
He was
out
like,
it wasn't.
and he had like this time like jumping device
Something
on his arm.
device to switch.
He was pretty. I thought he was pretty
good.
badass.
Well, I mean, at
And
the
he had a
time,
ponytail.
because of during the
Bro,
Annihilation
he had a
War,
ponytail.
one of the Annihilation War, that's when they introduced him. I think no one caught on.
Yes.
And I think the writers at the time who wrote that series was trying to this is there in case somebody was to go back to it.
Gotcha.
And I think that's where Donny Cates went to it.
Mm-hmm.
So he does all this. A younger Thor helped stop the invasion,
So
causing the symbiotes to rebel against Null.
isn't that kind of just wild to think about that Null has known of the Earth's existence for so long? And it's not even necessarily medieval. It's like, well, I guess you can call it medieval. Null does invade a lot of the Nordic countries. So like,
Mythological, yeah.
exactly.
And that's
So
why
there's-
Thor was involved when they at the Vikings at the time.
I've got
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Great.
touch on it when I do mine.
they
I
would
got
call it,
I'm gonna
and he
touch
would
on
just
it.
show up
about the people of Norway.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch on it. Yeah.
And we didn't hear from Null until the aftermath of Empire. That was another storyline that came out, where Null attacked and destroyed a few planets from both the Fiar world and the Kree Skrull world.
Dude, no ain't no joke, man. No,
Null-
we could talk Null.
Yeah.
You know,
Forever. We
okay,
could do a whole
yeah.
pod just on Noel.
Oh, isn't that funny? That was supposed to be this episode.
Well, it was. I changed it up because
Venom
Venom's more
slash Null?
popular than Null.
I remember you said that.
Just a real quick fun fact: Null's first full appearance was in Venom Volume 4, Number 3, written by Gates and Stegman.
Gates of Beat.
But his ID was revealed during the Thor of God of Thunder run, issue number 6, written by Jason Aaron and Butch Juice.
Which, holy shit. Sort of on topic, sort of off topic. There is a YouTuber, I believe his name is the Russian comic book reader or something like that. I'll get his
That's a cool
link into the description. He does a lot of motion comic books and he does all his own voice acting.
Yeah.
He voice acted that entire run.
Of Jason Aaron's God of Thunders.
Mm-hmm. So, and he did King in Black as well. The way he voices Thor is freaking perfect. It's Nordic. It's
fit the role,
godly.
right?
It
Did it
fits
sound
very
like
well.
Chris Hemsworth?
That's dope.
No, it
No.
did not. It sounded more like the guy who voiced Thor in the Avengers cartoon. Not assembled. Earth's Mightiest
Mighty
Heroes.
Heroes? Oh,
He
okay.
sounded
I would
more
like
like
that.
him,
I would like
and
that.
he did Noel with this freaky, like sorta.
Creepy-ish.
I want to say Slovakian accent.
Okay.
So it just fits so well
Nice.
for Noel. So now when I hear Noel, I hear this guy's voice
That's
when
dope.
I'm reading it. Yeah.
That's
I
dope.
also like the version that they
That's
showed in the recent Venom movie, The Last Dance.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't see it
Null
yet.
shows up in the beginning. I actually got to see it.
You did.
It was good.
It's on Netflix.
It wasn't
now.
the best.
I
but it
saw
was
it.
good.
I saw it a couple times.
Well, I thought that the actor who played Null in that very short sequence was pretty scary.
Yeah, he did pretty good.
I have
And
to give him that.
here's
So
a
while
fun.
you describing it, it sounds
Here's a
so
fun
good.
fact: the creator of Noel, Donny Cates,
Mhm.
he was really pissed at Marvel because he didn't get any
Credit.
royalties
Didn't get
for
royalties?
creating the character. Yeah,
He didn't
none.
at the credits
Nope.
at the end.
No.
Blame Sony on that.
He got
You
nothing.
gotta blame Sony on that, Johnny. Marvel
He's
had nothing to do
mad,
with it.
man. He was really mad. But you know
You
what?
can't blame Sony on
Yes,
No,
you
he-
can. Think about it. Hold on. Think
Not
about it.
really.
Let me. When a Marvel movie comes out, at the end of the credits, they do give writers and
They give
artists
props.
credits.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
Not always.
No,
But in the
They
Sony
don't have
movies, they
to,
don't
really.
do that.
Yeah, they don't have to.
They don't have to, but they do it to show respect
But
to
you
the
know what?
writers.
But they
and
haven't
creators.
done it.
like
to
when
all
the
of them.
DVD or Blu-ray comes out, they can put it in there, like
Okay.
special.
They could, but I
special,
remember.
special thanks or
But but
inspired by.
as every Marvel fan know, you stay till the very end because you never know what credit scene shows up. And if you wait and look at the credits, they do give their props to them.
I'm sure that's
Yeah.
not what.
It's crazy you say that. 'cause
Venom
a
never
lot,
did
a
it.
lot of the endings of stuff never amounted to shit.
Well, I know, but it gives them.
I pull out like 10 of them
credit
out of my
they
ass and tell you, hey, whatever happened to this? Why did this? You know, but it's all. Oh,
But
I hear you.
Fair enough.
To be fair, the payoff for the Mandarin getting arrested by the real Mandarin, I know worked out in Shang-Chi's favor, but we had to wait like 10 years to find out what the hell happened.
What happened? Yeah,
Shang-Chi
that's
was
true.
pretty good. They're actually doing a
I-
part 2.
I
Why?
can't.
Why?
Imagine Shang-Chi versus Iron Fist.
No, but why? Do we need one? Do we need another Thor movie? Come on, dude. Do we?
Yeah, why not?
All right, let's keep it on track.
Yeah,
keep it
let's
on
go.
track.
Let's
So
go.
what is your definitive arc for Venom? Just reiterate.
King and Black.
King in Black?
Oh,
Okay,
Oh,
cool,
definitely, man.
All right,
Thick,
bet. Good choices. Good
Such
choices.
news.
If you do want to hear us go off on our little rants about other comic book stuff, make sure you check out our show on Patreon.
We don't
You
do
can do
that.
patreon.com/comic combo express. We have something called the After Hours where we take kind of random stuff. Also, today's episode of the After Hours is the many ways to kill Noel. So be ready for that. But you can only get it on the Patreon. Go sign up. It's as cheap as $3.99 a month, and the money goes directly back into the pod. We love you guys so much for the support, and thank you.
I know how to kill no.
Shout out to the chat room.
I know how to kill no. Just light up the comic.
Just like
Just close the book.
yeah, let's
Kill them. Game over.
Oh, I stopped Thanos.
He shut the book on his ass. He shut the book right on his ass.
All right,
at least
so
the segment 2 now.
segment 2, yes. So this is a little scenario that I've put out for our friends here. You are getting attacked by the god of symbiotes, Noel. Venom will defend you, but he can't do it alone. Pick 3 of his offsprings to defend you. Noel cannot turn your choice against you. However, whomever you don't pick will aid Noel. So I know, Tommy, you have a little thing for me to read. So I would like you to go first, man.
I'll be honest with you. This question was like mind blowing because they had to pick 3, no matter what, and they cannot be changed. But that means whoever you don't pick goes against you with no. So here's my pick 3.
It's almost like I just said that.
My number. I'll go
Echo
backwards.
up in
Number
this
3
one.
would be Toxin, and there's been like 2 versions of Toxin, but I'm gonna pick them out. There was Eddie Brock who was in from Venom number 17.
Toxic sick.
There was Bren Waters, the recent Toxin from King and Black Planet, the symbiote number 3. But the choice I'm picking with me
Is the original?
is the original Patrick Mulligan.
Oh,
First appearance on Venom versus Carnage number 1, written by Peter Milligan and Clayton Crane. Good artist, by the way.
Love Clayton Crane's work.
Crane's
Would be my
monster.
choice because Peter Milligan was a cop, so you need that good person's host with a symbiote that could actually heal him up if he got hurt.
Uh,
Even though he died,
Yeah.
that didn't help him. But I think at the time, the symbiote didn't know he could heal him.
I also think the symbiote. Well, Noel's an interesting case because, or not Noel. Oh my God, Toxin's an interesting case because
He's not powerful,
Toxin
though.
can't control all of his senses.
Exactly.
So Patrick Maholian can be like the most wholesome man in the world.
They
You know,
keep him
Toxin.
grounded, right? Keep him grounded in a sense.
So that's the problem. The farther you are born away from the hive mind, the more
The
feral
more
you
feral
become.
you become.
So Toxin was so feral that I believe he killed and ate Patrick Maholian's wife, right?
Yeah.
And their unborn child.
Well, he
Yeah.
threatened him. He threatened him in the beginning of the series, I remember.
Yeah.
And that's why
I
they
thought
started
he's-
working together.
Yeah.
And then I think eventually he was killed by Blackheart.
Yeah. Off panel, which was
So it
ridiculous.
off panel. We still need to see that.
sucks.
Well, I think the severe savagery of Toxin
But
worked in his
Toxin got
favor.
better over there. When he merged with Eddie Brock, I guess he learned more about what he is as a symbiote. Because mind you, Venom is Toxin's grandfather.
Yes.
Yep.
So he needed a lot to learn. And he got better over the years. And I think
But
during
if
the
you're
time
but if you're ripping Patrick right
Patrick
out of the
Milligan
timeline,
to
you're
be on my
getting-
team, that's the Toxin I want.
It's his
Is it
abuelo.
the Maholian?
Abuelo.
He's like, well, what?
It's the abuelo.
The abuelo of Venom. The abuelo of Venom.
What's Patrick's last name again? You said
Milligan.
Milligan. I was saying Maholian.
Funny
or
name.
something.
The
Mahomes.
writer who created him, Peter Milligan. It's just so
It worked out well.
It
Yeah.
worked out. Number two, you got to think of Toxin's father, Carnage. Cletus Cassidy's first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man 361, written by David Michelini and Mark Bagley, the artist. Why I picked Cletus? He's sick. He's a killer. He's a serial killer. No,
Natural bone killer.
he's going symbiote on him. He's
He's a
even
killer.
worse.
Sorry, Cletus. I just figured out talking to a psycho killer isn't gonna give me the answers I'm after.
I know what will. Death.
Now,
Killer.
over the years, especially recently during Absolute Carnage and the King of Black,
Mhm.
Carnage got more dangerous. He's not afraid of Null. Every symbiote was afraid of Null except Carnage. Cletus Cassidy and Carnage. Think about it. If you're a human, you're scared. You see Null, you're going to freak out. If you're a symbiote, you're scared to see Null. But Carnage,
It's absolute
he
carnage.
not only wasn't scared of him,
Yes.
he wanted to beat him.
That's what.
And he ended up learning more about symbiotes and what they can actually do. Cletus died, and the symbiote brought him back.
resurrected him and
Yep.
blessed him
was
with
a-
mad powers.
He was
like
actually the first symbiote to actually do that. We
Next
found out
level.
later on every symbiote can do that. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, Peter Milligan wasn't brought back. I don't know why, but okay.
I think they might bring him back like in a later story, maybe.
I hope
Maybe,
so,
I
but
don't
right
know.
now he's on a kid named Bren Waters.
Or
Yeah,
maybe,
I can't see them bringing him back.
or maybe do a side story to tell you how he died. You know, because remember
I would like
off
to.
screen.
I
You just know
don't know why
Blackheart
they
had
did it
something to
off
do with it.
panel. So
That's not good.
Blackheart was killed him, took
Yep.
the symbiote, and was going to bring it back to hell, but something happened, and the U.S.
He didn't
government ended up
Symbiote made it
having
back.
control of it.
Jesus
He must have
Christ.
took Patrick Milligan down there. And of
Probably.
course, my number one is Agent Anti-Venom. Hear me out. The Flash Thompson version.
Yeah, that's
okay. Eddie Brock's first appearance was Amazing Spider-Man 569. This one version.
Mhm.
It was written by Dan Slott and John Romita Jr. That was that's when Anti-Venom was on Eddie Brock. For the record. But when he went on Flash Thompson, it was an Amazing Spider-Man Venom Inc. Alpha #1. It's Eddie Brock made Anti-Venom his own, hands down. And this was during the time the Venom symbiote was on Scorpion. We'll skip all that because here's what happens. The Venom, then Eddie ends up getting on Toxin, and later on he gets Venom back.
Oh, hold up. I'm sorry. For those who are curious, that is the Dark Reign story arc.
Exactly. And then it ends up getting on Flash Thompson, who at the time was he just came back from the military. He lost both his legs, and the symbiote ended up being used on. He wanted to serve his country.
Yep.
The anti-venom, the military found it, and they were trying to weaponize it, and they volunteered Flash Thompson to use it to help, maybe stop Venom and Carnage in the future, maybe become a hero.
Mhm.
So it gets on him, and he, as anti-venom, he ends up going first after Venom, and then we find out later on that the symbiote that anti-venom uses was a piece of his venom, but it was also like militarized / science. They use science to basically
Enhance it.
it would hence it to use it to
So-
kill a symbiote.
Well, so hang on for a second though. Let's back up for just a second. I was under the impression Flash Thompson first had the Venom symbiote.
He did as
Okay.
Agent Venom.
As Agent Venom.
I'm sorry. He
Yeah.
actually had that on him first,
It's
and
a nice
then when it
costume.
left
Right.
him,
I like that costume.
when it left
It's
him,
pretty dope.
he kind of missed the symbiote, and that's when the military said, "Hey, well, you lost Venom, but we got anti-Venom,"
Okay.
and that's where they get it on him.
I
what-
want Venom. We have Venom
So
at
what
home.
makes it better on Flash Thompson is the fact that it kind of morphed into his old suit like Venom used to be, except also it could also kill a symbiote with a touch.
Oh,
So
Okay,
here's
dope.
why I picked him as number one, because the Flash has the power now to kill any symbiote, whether it's Venom, Carnage, Toxin, or any of the other Scream, any of the symbiote. Imagine what he could do to no. So basically, any symbiote he's going to throw at him, you put Agent Anti-Venom in front, he could kill them all up till he gets to no.
Well,
Now-
there's two parts to that now.
Go
So
for it.
something to remember is the way the anti-Venom suit is created. We have discovered after Eddie Brock's departure from Venom that Venom leaves behind traces of the symbiote inside their DNA. Now, in later issues, Mr. Negative and his strange abilities is what activated the anti-Venom symbiote upon Eddie Brock, and then also did so on Flash Thompson. So something to remember that whatever remnants of the symbiote is powered by the negative energy. So
Mhm.
essentially the symbiote is dead, but can in fact kill other Clintars. However, every time it is used, it takes a part of the symbiote away because there's no regenerative properties. So something to remember is that's awesome.
Yes.
That's a great skill until you realize that eventually Flash Thompson will be useless because the anti-Venom symbiote has killed so many of Venom's
The
offspring.
more he kills, the more he's on
Taken
heat,
away.
and he could probably get
Now-
killed off.
That's another thing too. The anti-Venom symbiote can take away spider abilities too,
True.
or certain
it did affect
powers.
Spidey in certain
Exactly.
ways. But
So
then again, Flash looks up to Spider-Man, so he won't
he won't use.
He won't
it.
do that.
use
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I think that's just a fun fact to add there.
No, it's a
Continue. I'm
good.
sorry.
I'm glad you did that way because I kind of skipped a lot of stuff just to explain what Flash can do
Yeah.
and why he was so. Why he
It was good that we simplified.
I'm,
it.
no, I'm glad.
Yeah.
So basically, that's my army
Mhm.
to take on Null and his army. And here's how, like you asked, you want to know how they're going to beat him. I'm going to give it to one simple answer. They can't, and I will tell you why. In King of Black, it took not just Venom, but also Thor and Silver Surfer. A lot of things to help take them down, and
X-Men.
they barely took them down. You're asking me to pick 3 of the symbiote wearers, the hosts and their symbiotes, to take on not only an army of other symbiotes, but Null himself.
But you remember,
You fail
Pete,
every time.
but you remember in the King of Black storyline,
Yes,
Venom was the key.
he was the
remember that?
key. Venom himself.
No,
Venom-
but
yeah,
but in
Venom
this
was.
in this segment, remember it said Venom's there to protect you.
Oh, so it would be 4 people.
Technically,
Yeah, in a
We're
sense.
still gonna lose.
All right.
Because you have no Silver Surfer, you have no Thor, you have no X-Men, no Avengers. I mean, it's limited. So I have to say, I mean, this is my opinion. Null gets the win. I picked a good army, so they're gonna win. He's gonna win. Sorry.
Nice.
I had to be honest. Sorry.
Yeah, nice. All right, I'm gonna set this up. Basically, I'm gonna break down. We got a little treat for you guys. I got to break down this little segment, and then I'm gonna pass the ball to Pete.
what up, G?
Basically, you said Venom's to protect you, right?
Yes.
But I'm choosing the Symbiote God Venom from Volume 4, Number 1, January 2018. This is the first appearance of Eddie Brock as the Symbiote God, also known as the God of Symbiotes or Symbiote Supreme. He is holding the Enigma Force. Do you remember how in the No storyline
Yes.
when Eddie Brock got murked and they used the bright light came from the sky or whatever was going through all the dragons and things
Yes.
land on him. So basically, he's blessed with this power. The Enigma Force first appeared in Marvel Premiere Number 1, 1972. It's a powerful cosmic entity that appears in various comic over the past years. Spider-Man had it in Acts of Vengeance. Remember when he punched the
For a
Hulk?
very short time.
Tom McFarlane punched him to space.
Oh my God.
Punched him into space. Then he was like, "Let me go get Hawk." He flew there, he took him down.
Took him down.
Hulk was like, "What?" So basically,
the
this
hell?
it goes by different names. The Enigma Force, or even called the Captain Universe,
Yes.
is the another name for it.
The hero that wears it. Right.
Yep. And so my 3 people
the
I'm
Cosmic
actually
Force.
choosing, or sidekick symbiotes to roll with me.
Mm.
I'm going with Absolute Carnage #1 from August 2019.
Okay.
Paige already touched about all of them. You know, he's I believe Chastity got killed, resurrected by Noah, and he was blessed with this mad power. Again, first appearance, Absolute Carnage #1.
Oh, so just as
He
another,
wants the absolute carnage version.
yeah. So just for everybody at home that don't necessarily know that arc, when Cletus Cassidy was resurrected, the suit was immune to the poison disease as well. So basically, essentially, Carnage became like a mini version of Null.
He was also able to control other symbiotes too.
That's why I brought up poison, yeah, because it was able to.
I should have thought of that.
And it says he also has all his previous powers and skills, but amplified to a much higher level. In addition to his symbiote normal capabilities, he can absorb other symbiotes to increase his powers, or even control over symbiote hosts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my number 2, it's kind of cheating because I know you said before, but this one is called Hybrid. It's actually a combination of four Carnage offsprings.
I actually am okay with that.
Lethal Protector #4 from 1993. You got Agony. I believe her name is Leslie. I forgot her last name. Leslie something. Then you got March. You got Riot, which is Trevor Cole. Then you got Lasher, which is Raymond Hernandez. They were all bonded to originally hosts. They were like all the scientists in the lab and everything.
Experimenting on.
They showed it in Last Dance.
Last Dance, yes.
Which was great. See, that's why I like that. I mean, a lot of people.
Why you recommended that movie?
I liked it. I said, Pete, you got to see this movie. He's like, no, I didn't see it yet.
Yes, it's so
But it was great.
I'm glad I saw it.
I like that part. And again, they were all separate hosts, and then they merged to one, which became a Hybrid.
Hybrid, yeah.
And then
Hybrid could, in fact, survive without a host, in case anybody
That's
was
true.
wondering.
And then my third one is a wild card. I'm going with Grendel.
Oh, wow.
Just hear me out.
I don't know what this is.
Here's a nice little fun fact. According to Marvel Comics universe, Thor indeed fought a dragon-like creature called Grendel. Remember you spoke about it? In the King of Black storyline from 2020 to 2021. In the King of Black storyline, Thor fought Grendel in a distant past, specifically during the Viking Age, like you spoke of, which would place the battle between the 9th or 12th century. Thor defeated him, and dude, the images and the pictures that they show, it's still in my head, man. He just shows up and they just go at it. Takes out the freaking dragon. And that's pretty much my.
So you need a powerful
fun
symbiote dragon in your army. Okay.
Fun fact, actually. So
That's
really,
my wild
really fun fact. Do you remember when the meteor came down and hit New York?
Yeah.
During the King of Black storyline?
Yeah.
If you realize when Noel starts to lift the meteorite and it forms into a dragon, it's a resurrected version of Grendel.
And there was more than one. I remember seeing the dragons all. So Grendel, so this Grendel must have been like the original dragon, probably bigger,
one of the first.
but it was killed by Thor. So
One of the first.
So
He was terrorizing the shit
so
out of
what
the
chances
Vikings.
do you think he would have against? No.
Well, listen.
probably.
Do you remember
very
all
large.
the in King in Black and everything? You remember the origin of Noel? How all the symbiotes were like, "Oh, dude, we're gonna take this dude down."
Yeah.
So they all figured, so like Absolute Carnage, like, you know what? Noel's gonna turn on me. Grendel's like, you know what? I'm gonna fight for my ass. And then Hybrid's like, you know what? I'm down with you guys, man. Let's roll. Posse out. We rolling. We riding dirty. And pass the ball. Here's the chance. And drum roll, please.
So Tommy wrote a very brief story to go along with his picks. So I'm going to read it in a narration voice. So here is an epic tale. In the realm of the symbiotes, I stood as a mere mortal, vulnerable to the wrath of the gods of symbiotes Null. His darkness proceeds loomed over me, with twisted tendrils reaching out to ensnare me. But I was not alone. Venom, the god of light, emerged from the shadows, and with the Maraca sword and hand shining with an unreal glow, with a fierce battle cry, he charged forward, his symbiote-enhanced strength, telling him towards Null. You shall not harm this mortal, Venom declared, his voice like thunder. As Null unleashed his dark sorry, oh my god.
That's no
Dark-hearted, and Gwendol the dragon sprang into action. Hybrid's multiple symbiotes merge into a singular, powerful entity, unleashing a barrage of razor-sharp tendrils that stuck at Noel's defenses. Dark Carnage, with his twisted, corrupted symbiote, lunged at Noel with a multiple glee, seeking to spread his dark influence. Gwendol, the mighty dragon, breathed a stream of fiery energy that scorched the air, forcing Noel to recoil. The battle raged on, with the four symbiote warriors fighting in perfect harmony. Venom's blade sliced through Noel's defenses, striking true time and again. Hybrid's tendrils bond Noel, restricting his movements. Dark Carnage's corrupted symbiotes speed into Noel's own, seeking to turn his power against him, and Gwendol's flames illuminated the dark, casting a warm glow over the battlefield. As the fight reached its climax, Noel unleashed a devastating blast of energy, seeking to obliterate his foes. But Venom, with his blade shining brighter than ever, stood firm, absorbing the blow and channeling it back at Noel. The god of symbiotes stumbled, his power warning. The four symbiotes warriors preceded this advance, striking him with all their might. And at the end, it was Venom who delivered the final blow. Out of his body and mouth, he says, "As there is light, there will always be darkness." Then Venom raises his kill blade to strike and say, "Then there will be me." Then swings the blade. He drops the kill blade. Wait.
Swings the blade and takes out Noel.
Pause. Yeah, that works. Swung the blade, took out Noel.
Took out Noel.
Who was happy? Yay!
Yay, the end.
We're talking about so he's using a necro sword to kill.
No. He actually didn't use the necro sword. It was the Macrane crystal sword forged from the crystals of Macrane, the sword.
Emkron?
Emkron. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
I'm pronouncing it wrong?
yeah, you
My bad, I'm
pronounced
sorry.
it. No, it's okay.
Emkron, basically, a lot of the mutants held it. Actually, Phoenix held it
Yeah,
one
during
time.
the Phoenix saga was when we first heard about the Emkron
Yeah.
crystals.
And that's
Oh,
an
that's
old ancient.
dangerous.
That's an ancient sword. And I actually fun fact
Forged
that
into a weapon.
I was telling Pete earlier off the pod. There's actually several weapons that can actually kill. No, you got
We're saving those for the
We'll save
after
it.
hours.
We'll save for
Yeah,
after
yeah.
hours,
For the
baby.
after hours.
Right, after
Sorry,
hours. Oh, burn, chicken, burn, burn. All right.
Wah, wah, wah,
Burn,
wah.
burn.
So basically, your army,
Yes.
which is hybrid,
Yes.
carnage, absolute carnage,
Absolute carnage.
and
The light god Venom.
and the light god Venom,
Grendel.
and Grendel.
And the sword.
So you threw a sword to help you.
Well, I didn't want to, because there was no Thor around, there was no surfer. I couldn't merge the surfboard and
That was my problem.
and the Mjolnir together. Mjolnir? What was it?
Mjolnir and
And a surfer. You can't. That was dope to see.
I
in the
was
comic,
to see
though.
them holding
In the
it
comic. Yeah,
worthy.
that was dope. And then yeah, that wasn't around, so I had no option but
I know.
to go to the X-Men and, hey, can I borrow that sword?
He went to the excuse me, let me borrow this.
Yeah. Hey,
No,
Professor
actually, he
Xavier.
borrowed it from the Shi'ar.
Well, it was in the possession of the X-Men because they used to rock it. Phoenix had it.
He said, "Because it's my story, damn it."
Yeah, his story. There you go. Well,
Remember, all your guys
Well,
lost. Mine didn't die this time, all right?
I lost
You
every
gave
time.
up on your guys that fast.
I was accepting the truth, everybody.
That's
I
it.
was
So
accepting-
the story goes, they all die. Again.
it was a crazy question.
They're
So that's why I
defending
was-
you, by the way.
It's like
I'm glad.
It's like-
I'm glad, but
it's like Little Red Hood and Three Bears or
No.
something.
I mean, it was straws. There was
The Three Little Pigs.
All right, we're running
Well,
low on
yeah,
time.
let's move
so
Here we
on.
go. Here we go.
Let's move on.
Let's get on. Yep. So, segment 3. What is the scariest variant of Venom not from the main 616 universe? Who wants to go first?
My answer is very simple. It's from the universe Marvel's 1610, the original Ultimate Universe.
Why don't you say 1610?
16? I could say that. I was just reading.
You should say 1610
It's
because that's what everybody
the
calls
original
it.
Ultimate Universe.
Thank
There
you.
we go.
What do they call the new one now?
1610.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the same number.
It's the same number, the same universe. It's just reforged. That's all.
Well, we'll go
okay.
to the original before it was
Yeah.
reforged. The Ultimate Venom from that universe. First appearance was in Ultimate Spider-Man number 3, written by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley.
Bags.
But the question is the scariest variant of Venom. I picked him, and here's the reason why. It was in the storyline with Miles Morales, the Spider-Man of that Ultimate Universe, before he became part of the Marvel Universe. And it was on a different host because Eddie Brock already like died in that Ultimate Universe. The symbiote got on
Wait,
a
what are you
different person. In this version, this storyline, that Ultimate Spider-Man, the symbiote, got on a different host because Venom, Eddie Brock died somehow in the first series with Brian Bendis' run.
Oh, okay.
So this symbiote during the Miles Morales run at Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Dr. Conrad Marcus was the host.
Yep.
And he went after Miles' family. And this happened in Ultimate Comics Spider-Man Volume 2 between issue 19 and 22. It was also written by Brian Michael Bendis.
Yep.
The storyline was called Venom War. And
Oh,
if you read that storyline during those issues, you'll
That was
see
sick.
why he is the scariest variant. It was because of the death of Rio Morales, the mother of Miles Morales, and it also forced temporarily it forced Miles in the Ultimate Universe to retire Spider-Man. He did retire for a very short time. He did come back, and then later on he ended up coming to the Marvel Universe. But this was during the Ultimate Universe towards the very end, and it was a very good storyline. It made me like freak out about Venom, like what he could do with the symbiote, especially if he knows all the details. Like you know how we talk about Peter in our universe,
Mhm.
where when Venom was threatening to kill Mary Jane, Aunt May, and everything, and this is all Peter was freaking out about it.
Yep.
Well, similar to that, but it actually happens. So I think the Ultimate Venom was the scariest out of all the versions. So
Yeah, honestly, I'd even make an argument for pre-Miles Morales Ultimates. Like, I think just
oh yeah,
that universe's Venom is
his origin, his
terrifying.
debut, and every time he fought that Ultimate Spider-Man was awesome. And it was
Great.
freaky too.
Our fathers died to create me. And now will too.
It was freaky.
But this one, he actually got to do what he said.
What was the issue that he first appeared in?
Ultimate Comics Spider-Man Volume 2.
That was Bagley, right?
Yeah. It was no, I
I
don't know
remember.
if Bagley was on it at the time.
Finch?
I think it could have been Sarah Piccielli.
Okay.
Bagley was on that one.
Oh, he was on
He
it.
was,
Okay,
yeah.
my bad. And it was issue 19 to 22. Check it out. It was a good storyline. That called Venom War if you see it on trade paperbacks.
That's dope. Love all those covers.
You know, actually, the repercussions of that world's Venom killing Rio Morales does bleed into King in Black when Miles first meets Venom. That was cool to see that throwback. But I'm
Well,
sorry, continue.
The fate of Rhea Morales, interesting was when the deal was made between the Beyonder and Miles for him to come into the Marvel Universe.
Right, that was one of the conditions.
That was one of the conditions. He asked for his mother to come back from the dead, and in that universe, she was alive. So it was happy ending for everybody.
Nothing like a happy ending. All right, my turn.
Pause.
Outside of the Marvel Universe 616, I'm going with Venom from Earth 14512, the Venomverse. The Venom from 14512, also known as Poison Venom, first appeared in Venomverse September 2017, written by Cullen Bunn and artist Iban. How you pronounce it? Coelho, yeah. I was thinking of Jello, Jello. However, the character's origin was explored in Venomverse War Stories number 1, November 2017. Artist Various Cullen Bunn wrote it. In the storyline, the Venom is revealed to be twisted, corrupted version of Eddie Brock. This variant of Venom is also from the variant event, Venomverse event. Let me try to read. Speak. Which took place in multiverse spanning storyline in this reality. Venom has become twisted, eldritch abomination bonding with ancient, I believe it's called Lovercraft ancient creature known as Poison. Powers, eldritch power. The poison symbiote grants Venom access to eldritch reality bending powers, allowing him to manipulate space-time and summon unspeakable horrors. Cosmic awareness, which is that alone is extremely powerful. Venom has gained twisted cosmic awareness, granting him insight into the workings of the universe. Regenerative immortality. The poison symbiote makes Venom virtually unkillable, allowing him to regenerate from even the most gruesomest injuries. Now, what makes him scary is unpredictability, of course. This version of Venom is unpredictable, prone to violent outbursts, which makes him a wild card in any situation. And then the eldritch horrors, which I mentioned. Venom abilities to summon otherworldly creatures make him a formidable opponent, capable of unleashing unspeakable horrors upon his enemies. And then the cosmic scope, Venom cosmic awareness grants him twisted godlike perspectives, making him a force to be reckoned with. Now this Venom, and that's pretty
I
much
remember
it.
that one shot. I remember when it came out. I remember this Venom you talk about.
I'm gonna throw my hat into it
Shorts.
too. Other than 1610, which I think that would be my number one.
Mhm.
I think a very close second is the Web of Shadows Venom. I believe Web of Shadows came out in 2008 for the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, and the Wii, and then there was a dumbed down version for the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox. Game starts off with a battle between Spider-Man and Venom. The suit, for whatever miraculous reason, starts to reproduce, giving Spider-Man a black suit of his own. It ends up kind of being a role-playing game because you could pick between being a hero again or embracing the dark energy. The final boss emerges as Venom, as a serpent god, essentially. That continues to
Pre-null.
reproduce. Yes, it's pre-null. It's
Pre-null.
actually even pre-multiverse storylines.
There you go. They were ahead of its time.
It really was. That you have to fight it on the helicarrier, the shield helicarrier. So it is that big. It is monstering a tower, and it has 3 heads. And I was like, whoa, that's...
I'll pick you up. Oh no!
Oh boy. You are in way over your multiple heads. You and this ship are going down. What about the innocent, Eddie? This is against everything you believe. Over my dead body.
And I think, and it was based off the Ultimate Spider-Man run. So
Was it?
The
Was
original.
Web of
similar.
Shadows
It
based
was
on
similar.
Ultimates?
It was probably grabbing the source from
Pieces
it.
from
and made it its own.
There's huge references, like in the fight with Wolverine. You have to know comic book questions to not be eaten by Wolverine, because that's how you do the light side to that.
Who declined joining the new Avengers? The red guy with the horns, duh. You're not yourself.
And they mentioned the Superhero Registration Act, the new Avengers. The I'm pretty sure it's based off of 1610.
True. That makes sense. Maybe a little bit from the 616 universe too.
Maybe, yeah.
That's dope.
That's what makes his own book. But that's a very interesting choice. I like that. And you notice how like certain symbiotes have certain powers,
Yeah.
depending on what they do with their hosts. So it's kind of cool.
Well,
that you get that.
they essentially genetically evolve based on their environment. You know, Venom got all of its power bases from Spider-Man, thus all his descendants will have Spider-Man powers, but they'll gain other abilities. Cletus Cassidy is a sadistic killer, so therefore Carnage can create blades and weaponry. Then it exacerbates.
Yeah, that's a word.
Is that the word?
Yeah,
That's
Okay.
a word.
I'll take it today.
Acerbated? I don't know.
Acerbated.
Toxin's level of
I would use that a
ferocity.
lot today.
Are you?
Yep.
It made Toxin very more ferocious than
Yes.
his other counterparts. Scream is immune to sound because of her host.
Yes.
Just it ends up being a whole multitude of things. You could see a lot of differences in the symbiotes.
It's like a mutation for symbiotes.
That's what it is.
That's
It's
pretty
genetic
cool that way.
mutation.
That's dope.
Let's go to segment 4, guys.
Yes, let me pull that up. So segment 4, Eddie Brock or Flash Thompson, who is more deserving of the Venom suit and why? So for those who know, you have your standard Venom from the original run, Todd McFarlane, all that jazz, and then you have Agent Venom, which that is Flash Thompson. Tom, go ahead, take the reign.
All right, guys. Just gonna touch on it, and then I'll pass the ball to Pete. Flash Thompson. I'm leaning more towards Venom as opposed to Flash, and I'll just break it down for you real quick. Flash Thompson's time as Venom was an excellent run, and he brought a unique perspective to the character. However, when considering the complexities of the Venom mythos and the character history, I believe Eddie Brock is more deserving. The Venom series, featuring Flash Thomas as the host of Venom symbiote, ran from 2011 to 2013. Here are some of the comic numbers and creative teams. You got your Venom 2011 to 2013. You got issue 1 to 22. You got Rick Remender. You got penciler Terry Moore from issue
Tony
1.
Moore.
Tony Moore, I'm sorry, from issue 1 to 9. You got Cullen Bunn and various artists from 10 to 22.
Nice.
Issue 23 to 42, of course, again, Cullen Bunn. Various artists, and then you're looking at it just goes on. The series Flash Thompson was a high school friend from Peter Parker, and he was also became the new host of Venom symbiote. The series explores Flash's struggles with the symbiote influences and his effort to use the powers for good. Note: the series was canceled with issue 42, and Flash Thompson's story continued in other titles such as Superior Spider-Man Team Up and Venom Space Knight.
Yeah.
So isn't technically Flash Thompson the one to discover Clintar with the Guardians?
Yes.
When he was with
He
them,
managed to bring Venom.
he was rolling with them.
He managed to bring the symbiote back to
Clintar.
Yep. And that's when we found out the further a symbiote was away from Clintar, the more crazy it would respond psychiatrically. Yeah. When Venom managed to get close to Clintar, the symbiote formed into like a
night armor.
Yeah. Almost like what's that? Rom, the Space Knight? It formed a Space Knight symbiote. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But the more he ended up going back home to Earth, it just reverted back to the regular Venom symbiote.
Mm-hmm. Well, didn't you, because it had now felt the touch of Clintar, and then when it left, it kind of
like it stayed with him for a bit, and then it just started losing.
Crazy. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing too. Not anti-venom. Oh my god, Agent Venom was a property of the U.S. government. They were pumping some kind of chemical to calm Venom. I forget what it was to make the symbiote under control. Yeah.
That's dope.
I remember that story.
That as soon as Brock came back, or not Brock, oh my god. What is wrong with me today?
Flash.
As soon as Flash came back, the suit was like, nah.
Listen, it found a way to get past that military
the chemicals,
chemicals. So
control.
Back to Brock, we got of course the original Bond. Eddie Brock was the first human host to bond with the Venom symbiote, and the connection is deeply rooted in the character's history. And he was one of who initially formed the bond, of course, with the symbiote relationship as the center part of Venom mythos. Complexity and depth. Eddie Brock's character, rich history, blah, 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 bologna sandwiches. Growth and development, struggles that Brock went through. It's crazy how they label him. They label him as a villain. Then he went anti-villain. Then he went to lead protection. Then he went to anti-hero. And it just changes a lot.
Man of many hats.
Yeah. And then Venom influences.
Master of none.
Then you got the Eddie Brock storyline from the Venom symbiote is deeply rooted as themes of addiction, control, and redemption. His struggle with the symbiote serves as a metaphor for his own personal demons, making his bond with the suit more meaningful and which more resonates more to me than the Flash Thomas stories. And that's pretty much what I got.
Okay, well, the question is, Eddie Brock or Flash Thompson, who's more deserving?
I told you.
And it's a very tough question.
I told you. I said it's going to be good.
It's everything you said. It's true. Because why? I mean, when you think of the Spider-Man mythos, Flash was there from the beginning. His first appearance was Amazing Fantasy 15. Stanley and Steve Ditko created him.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, he was a bully to Peter, and then but they ended up becoming best friends after college or something like that, and they were still in each other's life.
After he lost
And
his legs.
he idolized. We find out later he idolized Spider-Man. Even he picked on Peter.
But he didn't know.
Then there was talk about his abusive family and everything. He was very flawed as a character, is what I'm trying to explain. And then when he went to the military, he was looked at as a hero without symbiote. He lost his legs during in the post Gulf War, and he came back, and they gave him a chance with the symbiote, and he became Agent Venom. And he basically took the symbiote and did what Spider-Man would have done. To me, that's what labels him as a hero.
So
Everything
what
he's
Spidey
done
do?
with Agent Venom made him a hero, and I kind of thought that's well deserved.
Mhm.
He didn't get to keep it. Like you said, the series was good. It was Venom Volume 2, number 1, written by Rick Remender and Tony Moore. He actually got the symbiote on Amazing Spider-Man 654, written by Fred Valente and Ronan Cliquette. Between those two storylines, that Flash is a hero and what he did with it. Once it got canceled, and then all of a sudden the symbiote had to go back to Eddie Brock, and he ends up getting the Agent Anti-Venom. You still have him being what he should be as a hero. The symbiote, question whether he deserved it. Yes, he deserved it, but to keep it was a whole new storyline.
Yeah, that's different.
And this is where I go with Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock, like you said, was labeled as an anti-hero. He was labeled as a villain. He was labeled as the lethal protector. I totally agree.
He was a bus driver. He was a chef.
He was supposed to be a villain.
He's a babysitter.
Spider-Man
Was a
298.
photographer.
It was written by David Michelini and Mark McFarlane, like you said. But like you said, what he did with it, with the symbiote, he was also a flawed character. Even as Venom, he was still flawed. Maybe it just expanded worse. But he tried to do some good. Just at the moment he threw Spider-Man in the mix, it got worse. So I felt he didn't deserve it. But as soon as they took it off him because he had cancer and he was dying, and they ended up getting this. I mean, it was sad. It kind of like you couldn't look at anybody else being with the Venom costume, and they tried. Even with Flash Thompson, the first glimpse, no one gave him a chance on it until he kind of earned it. But meanwhile, Eddie was left to dry. He was dying from cancer. They end up, I guess Marvel decided, hey, he needs a symbiote, but we can't give him Venom because it's Flash Thompson. Let's give him Toxin. And Toxin got on him, and he ended up curing the symbiote power. They end up curing the cancer, and he's back. But it's Toxin. They end up fighting Agent Venom because he thought he was a usurper. I think that's the word, usurper, with the symbiote. And they ended up they'll work with it. I think the idea that Venom without a symbiote, Eddie Brock without a symbiote doesn't make sense. He needs the symbiote. So whether it was the Toxin symbiote, anti-Venom symbiote, or the actual Venom symbiote, I think he deserves it because he's entertaining to read. Yeah. So who's more deserving? My pick would have been Flash Thompson, but I cannot see Eddie Brock without any symbiote.
And seeing that you said that, not to cut you off, I don't know if you've been to the shop lately.
Oh yeah,
Carnage is on freaking Eddie Brock.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about that Thursday.
Yeah. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
He's gonna have it, no matter what situation.
He needs a suit, man. Just got to get that man a suit.
And a suit. All right, we gotta move it on. We are very low on time, so we're gonna move it on to the 5th segment and the 6th segment. We'll just combine the two.
Yeah, we'll mush them together.
So, what tells a better story? Venom versus... Oh, I'm sorry. What tells a better Venom versus Carnage storyline? The Maximum Carnage series or Venom versus Carnage 2004? Okay. And then, as soon as you guys answer that follow-up, does Venom make a better villain or a hero?
All right, guys. I'll try to rush through this quick or not, or as much as I can. Both Maximum Carnage and Venom versus Carnage 2004 are iconic stories featuring the rivalry between Venom and Carnage. However, I'd argue that Maximum Carnage tells a better Venom versus Carnage story line. Here's why. Scope and scale. Maximum Carnage is a massive 14-part issue. Remember? Yes. It ran through all the Spidey books, including Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and Spider-Man Unlimited. The storyline is an epic scope featuring the wide range of characters and massive citywide battles between Venom, Carnage, and their respective allies. In the contrast, Venom versus Carnage 2004 is more of a contained 4-part issue story. Because it was Clayton Crane also, right?
Yeah,
For-
it was Crane.
I believe that was Crane. Because the covers are like in my head. The covers are
For Maximum Carnage?
No, for Venom versus
Oh, yeah,
Carnage.
Venom versus
yeah, 4-part. Characterization. Maximum Carnage dives deeper into the philosophical. I can't even spit.
Yeah, philosophical, you got it right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Complexities of both Venom and Carnage, exploring their twisted motivations and backstories. The storyline humanizes Venom, showcasing his struggle with his own mortality and the desire to be good, while also highlighting Carnage's chaotic and destructive nature. Venom vs. Carnage 2004 also explores the character, but on a lesser scale. Action and suspense. Maximum Carnage features some of the most intense and suspenseful action sequence in comic book history, because I still remember all these covers. Like, it was great because each artist and different writer put their little 2 cents into each of the storyline, which was really, really great. Venom vs. Carnage 2004 also had its share of action-packed moments, but there's not a frequent or intense intensity in those as in Maximum Carnage. Basically, Maximum Carnage explores the themes of chaos, anarchy, nature of evil, etc., impact of Marvel Universe. Maximum Carnage has a significant impact on the Marvel Universe, leading to changes in the status quo of several characters and setting the stage for future storylines.
That was including Venom.
Venom vs. Carnage 2004 is more of a self-contained storyline with fewer lasting consequences for a larger Marvel Universe. Overall, both were great, but in my opinion, I'd go with the Maximum Carnage. Again, it was a 14-part crossover, many stories, everything from Steve Butler to, was it Cullingham?
Well, the writers were Terry Cavanaugh,
Yep.
Tom DeFalco,
J.D.
David
DeMatteis.
Michelini,
Yep.
J.M. DeMatteis.
DeMatteis, yep.
And artwork was crazy. We had Mark
It was all over.
Bagley, we had Alex Saviuk, we had Tom Lyle, the late great Tom Lyle,
Rest in peace, man.
and Sal Buscema. So I mean,
Yep.
and Ron Lim, who did covers as well.
Correct. I love his.
It also had the first appearance of Shriek.
Oh, that is true.
That was also a big one. They also did an adaptation of the video game for Super Nintendo. Maximum Carnage.
Yep, that's right.
Venom has it was like there's Spider-Man, and he had his team. He had a team with Iron Fist, Captain America, Dagger, Firestar, and Nightwatch. And then you had Carnage with his team.
Cloak wasn't in that? It was just
Hulk. No, Hulk. It was
Cloak.
Cloak was on there. He was on the Venom team. Because it was like a 3-way team. You had the good guys, which was Spider-Man's team, which I mentioned. You had Carnage. The villain team was Carnage, Shriek, Carrion, Vermin, and Doppelganger. And then you had the Venom.
Cloak apparently.
Yeah,
chilling.
no. Then you had
you
had the gray area team.
Yeah.
Venom's team, because even though he's on the good side,
Yep.
these were like heroes who would cross the line.
Yeah.
Cloak was one of them. Black Cat, Morbius, and Deathlock.
Yeah.
So it was all gray area. It was like a 3-way battle.
Was so cool.
And that's what made Maximum Carnage an exciting thing. That's why I agree with Tommy on this. However, I'm going to say this. For Venom versus Carnage, it was a limited series.
Yep.
Short, not like Maximum Carnage where it was all over the place. Issue 1 through 4 in 2004, written by Peter Milligan and the artist Clayton Crane.
Oh, hands down,
I think
man.
that's what carried that series.
I can't wait to do an episode about him.
Those covers are sweet.
It did the opposite of Maximum Carnage. It took Spider-Man and all the good heroes out, and it was just straight up Venom versus Carnage. Now, Venom at the time was still the anti-hero, leads the protector, and then you got Crazy Carnage. So it was like blood all over the place. And it was also the first appearance introduction of Peter Milligan / Toxin. So
that was dope.
It was good. It's good. It was a great story. But I think, like, if you look back at it, Maximum Carnage was very exciting, and there a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of death on the street that they didn't really show. Where in Venom versus Carnage, you got to see the blood and gore in it.
Yeah, so to me, it sounds like you're making an argument that
I made a case for both sides, but I would like.
Well, no, you've actually just proven that even though Maximum Carnage might be better written,
right?
Venom versus Carnage makes a better Venom versus Carnage storyline.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Right?
You think they kind of outstretched the Maximum Carnage storyline?
I think because it hit 5 titles.
Yeah.
different. You have to look for these books even at the time it came out. It was very hard to look for these things. But if you got it, it was worth it.
Maybe if they contain it maybe to like a couple titles. You know what I'm saying? Like ASM or web, like just
Maybe.
like bounce off each other.
I think there were too many Spider-Man.
I think if it came out now, they would have just under Maximum Carnage.
Oh,
and it would have been
Marvel
all
had a
12 issues.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
But you had to look at it.
Spider-Man
the
here.
whole series.
Spider-Man
Web
there.
Spider-Man there, Amazing
Yes,
there,
yeah.
Spectacular,
Doppelganger Spider-Man there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Mini everywhere,
Well, I managed to get all the issues, and I was like, it was
giant size.
awesome. I kind of thought at the time it was awesome. Then when Venom versus Carnage came out, I was like, okay, there's no Spider-Man, but surely it's gonna be more violent, and it was. It was. So, as far as what Venom makes a better anti-hero or villain, if he's like, I think we'll both agree on this one.
Yeah.
He's an anti-hero.
Oh,
Eddie Brock
hands down.
straight up
Hands down.
is a-
I was gonna say
He's
that
a
too.
lethal protector. He's
That was my choice.
he's not as good as Spider-Man being a hero, but he gets done.
Yeah, the reason why I picked the anti-hero because Venom can exist in various genres, from superhero comics
Yeah.
to horror, sci-fi
Horrors.
fiction.
Oh,
His
yeah.
flexibility allows writers to explore different storylines and tones, making him a versatile character.
See, I think I enjoy him more as a villain, but he does
Yeah.
object me.
I like him as a
better.
villain, but yeah. And
Yeah.
some of the notable storylines are in Venom series from 2011 to 2013. Venom Space Knight series 25 to 2016. Venom series from 18 to 2022. Donny Cates and Stigma. But yeah, anti-hero. Got to be anti-hero, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy how we all agree.
Exactly. I mean, if you put the symbiote on, like I said, Flash Thompson,
Yep.
then he's not an anti-hero. He's a spirit hero.
No.
But as Eddie Brock brings the balance at being an anti-hero. He could be a villain, he could be a hero, but he's flawed, and that's what makes him as a good anti-hero.
That's pretty cool, man.
Fantastic. All right. Well, so that brings us to the end of the show. Tommy, do you have that top 10 for us by any chance?
Yes, I do. And let me pull that up.
Awesome. Yeah. And while Tommy's doing that, guys, make sure you check out our Patreon if you want to help support the show. Patreon.com/Comic Combo Express.
It's a top
There
10.
is about
It's a
an
top 10.
extra. What is it now? We've gotten up to 10 hours. I think 10 hours of extra content to go check out for as little as $4.99 a month. $3.99 a month. Support us over there.
It's top 10.
Real fun.
And check us out on YouTube too.
Yep. Make sure you check us out on the YouTube channel,
All our
youtube.com/Comic Combo Express.
Mm-hmm.
And there's more.
And it's all edited by our own Pev Gamer. Don't forget that. His edits are phenomenal.
Yep. Edits go up on the Patreon a week before they do on YouTube as well. So you get to see the episodes early and complete. I mean, what's that top 10?
Go for
All
it.
right, P. Jump in whenever you want.
You got it.
Number 10, ASM 129, first appearance of Punisher. Let's go to.
I actually just got the homage cover by Clayton Crane of that.
Yeah, he just
Sick.
came out recently.
Sick.
It came out like 2 years ago,
Oh,
but I was so happy
2
I
years
got
ago.
it.
Well, they were releasing the first appearance recently.
Oh, I got that one too. Yeah. I got the reprint.
Then you got the ASM 300 for
First
full appearance of
Venom.
Incredible Hulk. Number 181.
First appearance of Wolverine.
I forgot what number, but Fantastic Four. Number 48. First
First
appearance.
appearance of Silver Surfer.
Yep. Big. Another number. Fantastic Four number 13.
First appearance of
Red Russian, Red Ghost.
Oh, the Red Ghost. Oh, he's going to be in the Fantastic Four movie.
Then we got the iconic cover. The next issue is Batman 251, the Neil Adams iconic cover.
Neil Adams.
Then we got Heroes for Hire number 1, Luke Cage.
Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
Then we got Fantastic Four Annual number 6. This is Annihilus.
Annihilus. Oh, from the Negative
First
Zone.
appearance of Franklin Richards as a unborn infant.
Ooh, the son of Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic.
Dude, he's was it considered to be one of the most powerful mutants in history of MCU history. And I want to say this is number 2 is, of course, the iconic cover 340 Incredible Hulk, Wolverine.
Wolverine versus the Hulk.
Yep, Tom McFarlane.
McFarlane.
And then the number 1, first ongoing series of Moon Knight number 1.
Moon Knight.
The moon.
Now I'm also throwing. Let me throw this in real
He's
quick.
got a couple bonies for you too.
Go to your comic stores, get these books because it's hot right now. All new Venom by Al Ewing and Carlos Gomez. It's Venom. He's back. New host. Also, I think the first 5 issues are already out, so it's a good time to jump on, get the first issue and catch up. Eddie Brock Carnage just
Oh
came
my
out.
God.
Charles Soleil
Didn't I say
and
Wednesday, Friday,
Jesus
Tuesday, or
Saiz.
You said
Thursday?
that. You said
I
We
thought
will,
so.
You
but
said Thursday.
I
All right.
said Thursday.
the reason why I'm bringing it up
My
because
ears.
it just
This one
launched.
works. This one's not so good. This one,
No, the
this
reason
one
why
I
I'm
hear.
bringing Eddie Brock Carnage up because it just launched, and it is your time to go out there and get these books from issue 1 on.
It's your time.
If you into trade paperbacks, get Venom Volume 8 by Al Ewing, Torrin Grombook, and artist Cafu. It continues where Venom left off and with Eddie Brock before he loses the symbiote. And in the next couple of weeks, we're going to get Venom War, the trade, the collection. Al Ewing, Ivan Coelho, and Carlos Nieto. That comes out April 2nd. Try to get that. It's a good storyline with the Venom Wars leading into the new series. So check them all out. And there you go. I had to promote for these books because everybody always
that's what
asks us,
Thursday.
what
Support
do we
your L-
recommend?
That's
Yes.
what Thursday's for.
Support your LCS.
Oh yeah, support your local
LCS.
comic book shops, please. And if you can't get to a comic shop, go online, get those books, man. I'm telling you, it's worth reading. It's
Pre-order so they can get you not the variant you ordered. All right, guys. So leave a comment, like a follow. We follow back.
Leave a comment, like a photo.
Like a photo, like a comment.
The Comic Combo Express.
Thank
we
you
are
guys.
back.
Appreciate. Thank you for
Thank
being
you
back.
very much.
Thank you for
Represent.
being here with us. God bless. Be safe. And that's it. I think
That's all we
we're
got.
good.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. God bless. We'll see you guys in the next video.